Good evening. Please rise and warmly welcome His Excellency, the Prime Minister of the State of Israel. Your Excellency, the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu. The Minister for Diaspora Affairs and Combating Antisemitism, Mr. Amichai Shikli. Your Excellency, the 30th Prime Minister of Australia, the Honourable Scott Morrison. Your Excellency, former Chancellor of Austria, the Honourable Sebastian Kurz. Minister of Justice of Argentina, Mr. Mario Liberone. Senior Counsel and Chair of the DOJ Task Force to Combat Anti-Semitism, Mr. Leo Terrell. Members of Parliament, ambassadors, and distinguished guests from Israel and abroad, welcome to the 2026 International Conference on Combating Anti-Semitism, Generation Truth.
Said that medical teams and Arab speakers were being targeted. This was incorrect. An apology from the BBC.
Dear Truth, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that people refuse to see you. These days, I can't even imagine how hard it is to be you. When so many people hate you, they try to reshape you to whatever fits their ideology. Dear Truth, you deserve an apology. Because people don't care about the real truth anymore. They just care about the headlines, even though they're full of lies. It's complicated, yeah, we know. Because fake is far easier to grow. When you say Holocaust, they try to deny it. When a terrorist gets killed, they say he was a freedom fighter and didn't deserve it. Does anyone have any real agenda? Or did the mainstream media get us all manipulated? And all those so-called human rights organizations that claim to help civilians, but in reality, they're part of the villains. They say they stand for people and truth, but back terrorists, disregarding any proof. Dear Truth, the world remains silent when it comes to Syria or Iran. But when Israel defends itself, it is the first and only one to be blamed. Lies and fake get millions of views and spread way faster than any real news. The truth shall set you free. That's what it says in the Bible. But what do you do when the truth is locked up behind bars and the lies go viral? Dear truth, if they don't see you, we'll make you brighter. If they don't hear you, we'll shout it louder. It's more than a need, it's this generation's duty. Yours truly, Generation Truth. And when the truth takes over the lies, a new day will rise.
My colors and the gray, my only wish upon a star, sunshine in the day, the only song that my piano ever plays. And even if you say goodbye, you'll always be around to lift me up and take me high, keep my feet close to the ground. Are you proud of me tonight? Dreams are coming true. I choose the light, nothing to lose if I lose you. New day will rise, life will go on. Everyone cries, don't cry at home. Darkness will fade, all the pain will go by, but we will stay, even if you say goodbye. Et même si tu dis adieu, tu ne partiras jamais. T'es l'arc-en-ciel dans mon ciel bleu, mes couleurs dans le gris, mon saut souhaite sous un ciel d'art, un rayon de ma journée, les seules chansons que mon piano peut jouer. New day will rise, life will go on. Everyone cries, don't cry at home. Darkness will fade, all the pain will go by, but we will stay, even if you say. New day will rise, life will go on. Everyone cries, don't cry at home. Darkness will fade, all the pain will go by, but you will stay, the love of my life. מים רבים לא יכבו את האהבה, ונהרות לא ישטפו. New day will rise. Everyone cries, don't cry at home. Darkness will fade, all the pain will go by, but we will stay, even if you say goodbye. A new day will rise. New day will rise.
Thank you, dancers of Zuzah, actor Iftach Ophir, and of course, Yuval Rafael, Israel's representative for the 2025 Eurovision Song Contest. Yuval Rafael is a survivor of the October 7th Nova massacre. 18 months later, despite a hostile atmosphere, she delivered a powerful performance representing Israel on the international stage, and she won the second place. Ladies and gentlemen, we are honored to welcome you tonight and thank everyone for joining us from all four corners of the world. Your presence here is a clear statement that the new generation of truth will not allow false narrative to prevail. The recent bloodshed in Sydney, Australia, once again demonstrate the urgent necessity for an uncompromising fight against anti-Semitism and serves as a clear reminder that the threat is not confined to Israel, but confronts the West as a whole. Today, we are filled with hope, inspired by a new generation emerging in Israel and worldwide. This evening, more than ever, we recognize that we have brave friends and true partners, people who do not hesitate to speak out the truth and expose the lies and incitement that have long fueled anti-Semitism. Generation Truth is the new guiding light for people worldwide, reassuring us that together we can create change that can benefit the entire world. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to invite the Minister for Diaspora Affairs and Combating Anti-Semitism, Mr. Amichai Shikli, to deliver the official opening remarks.
Ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, I'm honored to open this year's conference and to welcome the Prime Minister of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, the 30th Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, who stood with the Jewish community at their darkest hour, former Chancellor of Austria, Sebastian Kurz, a great warrior against anti-Semitism, Senator Flavio and Eduardo Bolsonaro from Brazil. We wish you, Flavio, the best of luck in your presidential race. The recipient of the special award this year, head of the U.S. Anti-Semitism Task Force, Senior Counsel Leo Tarell. The 8th President of the Republic of Srpska, Milorad Dodik. The Minister of Justice of Argentina, Mariano Libarona. Leader of the Swedish Democratic Party, Jimmy Acheson. Former Mayor of New York, Eric Adams, a great warrior against anti-Semitism. Thank you, toda. Dear Rabbi Yoram Ullman, the Rabbi of Sydney. Dear Pastor Rob McCoy, members of Parliament, ministers, head of Jewish communities, mayor from all across Israel, ambassadors, and friends from all across the world, welcome to Jerusalem, the eternal capital of the Jewish people, and thank you for standing with us in the global fight against anti-Semitism. I would like to begin by expressing a profound gratitude to God and to our brave IDF soldiers and to our Prime Minister, who today fulfilled a sacred duty and brought home our last hostages. Israel hero, who with a broken arm left his home to fight the terrorists in Kibbutz Alumim. He fought until his last bullet. Hero of Israel, Ran Gvili. And in this moment, I would say it in Hebrew and then in English, אחרי גבורתם של הלוחמים של בר כוכבא, שלא היה להם קבר במשך חודשים ארוכים, אנחנו מברכים על הדבר הזה ברכה מיוחדת, ונברך אותה כאן. ברוך אתה אדוני, אלוהינו מלך העולם, הטוב והמיטיב. For decades, the fight against anti-Semitism has been driven by good intentions and by false illusions. There was the belief that if we choose the right words, avoid offense, and wrapped everything in political correctness, anti-Semitism would gradually fade away. It did not. It grew stronger, louder, and far more violent. The depths of this failure was clearly evident in the Biden administration's so-called national strategy to combat anti-Semitism, a strategy that invited CARE, the American branch of the Muslim Brotherhood, led by Hamas sympathizer Niad Awad, who publicly celebrated the October 7 massacre to be a strategic partner in fighting anti-Semitism. A complete absurd. The past 2 years have proven a fundamental truth. Political correctness and the fight against anti-Semitism cannot coexist. Anti-Semitism today is no longer confined to graffiti or chants. In the past year alone, Jews were murdered in Bondi Beach, Sydney, in Manchester, DC, Colorado, and here in Israel. For one reason only, because they were Jews. This reality teaches us a hard but unavoidable lesson. You do not defeat anti-Semitism by pretending it has no clear source or ideology behind it. And if we are serious about fighting anti-Semitism, we must name it, define it, confront it. Yes, anti-Semitism exists on the far right. It is real, it is dangerous, and it is growing, especially in America these days. Yes, progressive left has transformed human rights into a weapon against Jews and the Jewish state. But when we take an honest look at the lethal anti-Semitism, the violent attacks that were carried out over the past 2 years, one fact is undeniable. The overwhelming majority were carried out by Islamists. For some, this might not be comfortable or politically convenient, but it is true. And truth is the only thing that matters. Unfortunately, too many governments and leaders refuse to say this out loud. I find it shocking that until this very moment, Australia's Prime Minister Albanese has been unable to even say the words radical Islam. This is not blindness. It is a deliberate choice not to see. Since the October 7 massacre, we have witnessed the highest level of anti-Semitism worldwide in generations. What we have learned in these difficult times is that an effective strategy must be built on 3 circles. First one is leadership. Fight against anti-Semitism begins or fails at the top. Strong leadership means moral clarity, clear red lines, and the courage to tell the truth, even when it is not comfortable. The United States, under President Trump, demonstrates what true leadership looks like. Moral clarity and decisive, unapologetic actions. אפשר למחוא כפיים. This administration cracked down on anti-Semitism on college campuses, hold their leaders accountable, and ensured that non-citizens who openly supported terrorist organizations are deported. And at this opportunity, I want to wish Mahmoud Khalil a safe travel back to Algeria. Germany provides another model. Neo-Nazi demonstrations are illegal. Genocidal slogans such as "From the river to the sea" are banned. The IRA definition has been formally adopted, and Holocaust education is mandatory in public schools. Leadership is also about what you choose not to reward. Recognizing a fictional Palestinian state in response to the October 7th massacre sends a disastrous message that violence against Jews leads to political gain. When anti-Semitism is denied legitimacy in the public sphere, it stays on the margins. When it is normalized, accused, or worse, rewarded, it becomes lethal. Second circle is immigration. There is a clear reality. Countries that enforce firm, responsible immigration policies experience significantly lower levels of anti-Semitism. Hungary provides a clear example. Budapest today is one of the safest capitals in Europe for Jews and Israelis. Hungary insists on its sovereign right to control immigration and pays a significant political and financial price for that stance. By contrast, the Netherlands, by the way, Hungary is not alone. By contrast, the Netherlands, Canada, France, and the UK opened their doors recklessly, and many of these countries have become unrecognizable. The third circle, and the last one, security. Security requires vigilance and action. Are states properly monitoring what is being broadcasted by Islamists on social media? and preached in Islamic centers? Is it aware of NGOs operating freely within their borders, whether it is SJP in the United States, Samidun in Canada, or Hind Rijab in Belgium? Are governments tracking foreign funding flowing into religious, educational, and community institutions? Qatar and Turkey, today the global strongholds of the Muslim Brotherhood, play a central role in this funding ecosystem. As documented in recent years, Qatar is the largest source of foreign funding for US higher education, contributing over $6 billion, more than any other foreign government in the world. Let there be no illusion. Every dollar comes with Islamic strings attached. Radical Islamism does not integrate, it infiltrates. Operational capabilities are equally critical. Trained police forces, real-time intelligence, rapid response. Ultimately, anti-Semitic attacks are stopped or carried out at the operational level. When the operational part fails, the consequences are catastrophic. As we saw recently in Bondi Beach, Sydney, where two terrorists armed with lousy shotguns were able to fire uninterrupted at hundreds of people for 12 long minutes. Hardened security and professional law enforcement are not optional. They are the difference between prevention and massacre. International cooperation is critical. Israel Ministry of Diaspora Affairs constantly works with partners worldwide, sharing intelligence, providing infrastructure, issuing alerts, training community leaders and senior police commanders with practical tools to confront anti-Semitism. And this, Toda Rabba, thanks. And this brings me to the final essential point. For too long, this conversation has been framed incorrectly. We have focused on the victim, on the Jews, on anti-Semitism, as if it were a private Jewish problem. It is not. It is not. And it is time to shift the focus from the victim to the aggressors and to speak clearly about the #1 threat facing our societies, radical Islam, from the Iranian regime to the Muslim Brotherhood. It is a threat to minorities, as we see what's happening now, as we speak, in Syria with the Druze, the Kurds, the Alawite. It is a threat to democracies, as we see unfolding across Western Europe capitals, and it is a global threat evident in every country where radical Islam has been allowed to infiltrate. This conference is not about slogans, it is about responsibility. It is about choosing the truth over comfort, clarity over denial, and action over appeasement. Together, we must build a joint coalition and move on the offensive, confronting anti-Semitism and radical Islam decisively and without apology. And it is now my great honor to invite the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, to share his remarks as our leader who has stood at the forefront of Israel defense and the global fight against radical Islam from Gaza to Tehran.
Thank you, Minister Shikli. First of all, I didn't know your English was that good. But it was the ideas that were exceptional and focused. Thank you for initiating this conference. This is the second one, and certainly not the last, because the battle is long. You have assembled an impressive team here, and I want to welcome some very good friends of the State of Israel and the Jewish people, and personal friends. First, the Minister, or rather the Prime Minister of Australia, Scott Morrison, a terrific champion of our people. Very good to see you, Scott. And equally, the former Chancellor of Austria, Sebastian Kurz, another great champion and another great friend. The Minister of Justice of Argentina, Mariano Libarona, He comes not only in his own person, but representing an incredible friend of Israel, the President of Argentina, Milei. He's breaking all the rules for the good. There's here another special friend. He's the senior counsel and chair of the Department of Justice Task Force to combat anti-Semitism, Mr. Leo Terrell. Leo, it's wonderful to see you again. We know your passion. We know that you are doing everything you can to move under President Trump's directive to fight anti-Semitism, which is dangerous to America, dangerous to our free world, dangerous to our common civilization. Thank you, Leo. We have here members of parliament, including the two brothers, Eduardo and Flavio Bolsonaro. It's very good to see you from Brazil. There are other members of parliament here and distinguished guests. I want to welcome all of you, and I hope to meet all of you. There are here also the family of the late Yaron Lishinsky, who, along with his betrothed, these wonderful, truly beautiful people, beautiful couple, mowed down by this anti-Semitic hatred in Washington, right next to the Holocaust Museum. And we forever remember the ones that were fallen, and we committed to bring back our fallen heroes and also all the hostages that were taken. And people didn't believe that we'd get the 20 live hostages. With President Trump's help, we got them out. With our brave soldiers who went into Gaza, stuck a knife to Hamas, and they realized that their last stronghold was going to go. And President Trump stuck a diplomatic knife on the other side. We got the 20 hostages. But then we had to get another 28 deceased hostages. And we got them all out, and there remained one. Rani Gvili. Rani Gvili, from the special unit in the police, who fought not only with a broken arm. He was shot twice, and he kept fighting. And he killed 14 terrorists alone. And then he died. And we said we'd bring him back. He was the first to come in. He's the last to leave, a hero of Israel. Rani is back. There are no more hostages in Gaza. Tremendous achievement for our heroic forces, our soldiers, our commanders. None like them. Over 20 years ago, I was finance minister of Israel. I was invited to a university in Holland. It's a very good university. It had focus on business, and they were giving this economic man of the year award. For some reason, they chose me, so I went there. There were about 1,000 Dutch students. Shortest one was 6'6". Young guys. And I gave my talk. I talked about the free market reforms that we did here. And then came the question and answers. And the first one rises, and he says, Prime Minister, what can we do about the Muslim minority in Holland? And I said, I dodged it, Wanted to talk about reforms, economic reforms. Okay, second one rises. Prime Minister, you didn't answer the question. What can we do about the Muslim minority in Holland? And I dodged that question. And so it went on. And after this session ends, I walk out with these two young Dutch students, 21, 22 years old. And I ask them, why did they ask me about this? And they said, Prime Minister, We are the most liberal country on the planet. We accept everyone. Black, white, yellow, brown, green, any color, any faith. Gays, straights, transvestites, anything. But in this minority, there's a radical fringe. And it's different because we want to accept them, but they don't accept us. They want to impose Sharia law on us. They want to eradicate Holland as we know it. This is over 20 years ago. These young kids. And what they said was something prescient. They could see that our common, free, democratic civilization is under threat. And it's since been invaded. Every country in Western Europe and in America. It's being invaded not by people of a different color, a different race, a different faith. That's not the point. It's people with a focused ideology. And the ideology is to destroy the West. And for this purpose, they've made common cause with the most ultra anti-Western progressives, and they have united. And they supposedly should disagree on everything, but they don't, because they want to destroy the West as we know it. And they agree on one thing. What is the thing that they agree on? World War Jew. To conduct a world war, first against the Jews and against the Jewish state. And for the radical Muslims, they are right, because there would be no West in the Middle East if the Jewish state is eradicated. There would be no obstacle for the further invasion of Europe if the Jewish state doesn't exist. And it also appeals to their internal hatred of the Jews, which has common roots with anti-Semitism over the centuries. What are those roots? Well, it's a very ancient disease, and anti-Semitism as a creed, not racism. Racism exists for all times. There's xenophobia and violent xenophobia throughout history. That's not what anti-Semitism is. Anti-Semitism began as a creed 2,500 years ago, 500 years before the birth of Christianity, with an ideological attack against the Jews, which is different. And it basically it kept on morphing, changed the reason why the Jews were hated. But I'll tell you why they were hated in the diaspora. Because they had two qualities that, when fused together, made them very, very vulnerable. The first thing is they were prominent. The Jews were prominent in every society. After we lost our land, we were spread through the far corners of the earth. And in these distant lands, we were prominent. And when you're prominent, you raise a human passion that is all too well known. It's called envy. But when you fuse envy with vulnerability, when you're weak and you cannot defend yourself, and this happens when there are societal changes, the combination of being prominent and weak is the deadly serum of anti-Semitism. And that's why the Jews, throughout the ages, again, elicited attacks again and again and again. And these attacks were always preceded by the most virulent vilifications. What did they not say about us? You're familiar with what they said about us in medieval times, that we were poisoning the wells, that we were spreading vermin, that we were slaughtering Christian children for their blood to bake matzos in Pesach. You know all that. This was preceded by similar vilifications, even in classical Hellenistic times, right around here, communities around here. And it was carried into the modern times, into basically the same charges, culminating always, these vilifications, in murder, in massacres, in expulsions, until we reach the greatest massacre of them all in the Holocaust. The Nazis spread this vilification and then proceeded to murder us. And there was very little we could do. That has not changed. Anti-Semitism took a respite for a few decades. You couldn't really do that in polite society. But it raised its head again. And of course, most prominently after October 7th, when the disease spread again, the virus spread throughout the world. Why is it important? There was a great writer in the late 19th century. His name was Israel Zangwill. You don't know him, but if you lived in England in the 19th century, you read his books or saw his play, The Children of the Ghetto. He was a great, great writer. And he became Theodore Herzl's great supporter in Britain and brought him to Britain. And Zangwill had a saying. He said, obsta principi, that's in Latin. My Latin isn't that good. But what it said was, what he meant by that is oppose bad things when they're small. Oppose bad things when they're small. Don't let bad things, don't let evil things grow and grow and grow, because it will be impossible to fight them or much more costly to do so. This is what we are facing today. Anti-Semitism is pure evil. Anybody in his right mind understands that. But what is not understood was not understood 90 years ago, that when this evil manifested itself in the heart of Germany, or before that, as Theodore Herzl saw it, at the turn of the century, of the 20th century, in France, supposedly the most advanced society, when he saw that, he saw the danger not only to the Jewish people, he saw that as a danger to Western civilization. As did my father, who was a great historian, but he was a young man. He was 23 years old when Hitler rose to power in 1933. And he said that Hitler's racism will not only cause a Holocaust, the word he used, a Holocaust of the Jewish people, it will destroy the world. It's the hatred, the evil that will spread unopposed, and that we must harness. The people of the world, the people of the free world, to understand that if it's not stopped here, the darkness will spread everywhere. This is what we face today. This is what Amichai Shikli just said. It's not just a Jewish problem. It is, of course. It is. But it's humanity's problem. It's the world's problem. And we must fight it. And I salute all of you who came here today, because our goal is to fight, 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 and our cause is to win, win, win. This is what we're here for. And we must do so because if the invasion of militant Islam, radical Islam, continues, our free societies are in peril, our world is in peril. If the regimes that harbor it and promote it acquire nuclear weapons and the means to deliver it, every one of your cities will be under threat. Every one of your societies will be under threat. And what Israel is doing today is not merely defending itself, it's defending you. It's defending all of you. And I'll tell you what the difference is. The difference is that in our centuries of exile, we could do nothing against these vilifications except flee, because we could not fight. We didn't have a state. We didn't have an army. We had no weapons. We lived in societies that outlawed our ability to even defend ourselves or hold a weapon. So we were led to the slaughter. But this is the change that we have brought to Jewish history. We now have a state. We have an army second to none. We have soldiers. We have young men and women who are willing to fight, who are willing to die to defend our people and defend our future. Heroes like no other. And this change is something that makes all the difference, because they can vilify us, but they can't destroy us. We're in the process of blocking the Iranian Shiite radical axis. There's another one. It's the Muslim Brotherhood, the radical Sunni axis. We'll defend ourselves, but will the West defend itself? This is what we're here to discuss. This is what we're here to promote. And we know that this poison has now penetrated mainstream media, all global institutions, all governments that are faced often with Islamist constituencies and their leaders. Unlike the leaders that I mentioned before, they do not take a stand, they cower, they fall back. And of course, it's most prevalent in the social media. This is the new battlefield, and this is where we must counter with our own weapons. We're late in the game, but we will win this battle too, as we won on the battlefield, because we are developing the means to fight this. Not with cavalry against F-35s, with F-40s against F-35s. This is the next thing. I urge you, all of you, not merely to bemoan our problems. I urge you first to understand that we are joined in battle. And it's as important for us to muster our courage, our creativity, our willingness to fight. It's the most important thing. In battle, the most important thing is tenacity, the willingness to fight. There are many other things that are important, but this is first. If you have that, you don't have that, you have nothing. So I want to address myself first to young Jews everywhere, but especially to young Jews facing intimidations on campuses and city centers. I say to them, don't be afraid, don't cower, don't bow your head, speak up, stand up, fight back, because this is how we endure. We fight and fight and fight. And to the leaders in this hall and to the world, I say this: history will not remember those who merely denounced hatred in polite language. History will remember those who acted, those who defended truth when it was easier to look away, those who stood with the Jewish people when others equivocated. Because when you stand with us, you stand with yourself. You must come out and you must speak very clearly and you must declare, no more anti-Semitism, not here, not now, not anywhere. Not on the right, not on the left. And let us fight the lies with truth, because lies are the foundation of anti-Semitism. Truth is the antidote. May the light of truth shine from Jerusalem, and may we meet again next year in the third conference in a better, brighter, and more truthful world. Remember, if we fight, we win, and we shall win. Thank you.
Thank you, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Please remain with us on stage for lighting the memorial candle. I would like to call Minister Shikli once again to stage. Thank you, Prime Minister Netanyahu, for your valuable words and your presence and for your outstanding leadership. "18 Jews and 2 Israelis were murdered in terrorist attacks targeting Jews and Israelis during 2025, including the attack in Washington, D.C., Colorado, Manchester, and the massacre in Sydney, Australia. Please welcome Rabbi Yehoram Ullman, Director of Chabad of Bondi, and father-in-law of the late Rabbi Eli Schlanger, who was murdered in the Bondi attack on the first night of Hanukkah, along with 14 other members of the Jewish community in Australia. And Mr. and Mrs. Lashinsky, who lost their son and his beloved Sarah Milgram in the terrorist attack in Washington, D.C. in May last year. Prime Minister Netanyahu, Minister Shikli, Rabbi Ullman, Mr. and Mrs. Lashinsky will light a candle in the memory of our brothers and sisters who were murdered in the terror attacks in Sydney and in Washington, D.C., Manchester, and Colorado. Thank you. We kindly ask you to stay standing as His Excellency exits. We kindly ask you to remain standing as His Excellency Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu exits. Each year, we award an individual who has stood at the forefront of the battle for truth and inspires us all. Tonight, we are honored to present the award to Mr. Leo Terrell, Senior Counsel to the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. Mr. Leo Terrell, a prominent American civil rights lawyer, plays a significant role in combating anti-Semitism within President Trump administration. Let's watch together a short clip on Leo Terrell.
In moments of rising hatred, history remembers those who chose courage rather than silence, bravery rather than comfort, pursuing the truth. Leo Terrell is a civil rights attorney, a legal scholar, a man who built his career defending justice and equality under the law. But when a new wave of hatred emerged disguised as politics, normalized on campuses, and directed at the Jewish people, Leo Terrell did something rare. He spoke out. When anti-Semitism became fashionable, he called it what it was. When Israel was singled out, isolated, and demonized, he stood firm and said, enough.
This is not academic freedom. This is anti-Semitism in its purest, most hatred form. And guess who's being sacrificed? Guess who's being thrown on the bus? Jewish Americans here and the state of Israel.
Leo Terrell reminded the world that anti-Zionism too often masks anti-Semitism.
It's not just a Jewish issue. It's an American issue. It's a Western civilization issue. The Australian government, in allowing this Jew hatred to fester.
That human rights are not selective, and that moral clarity should never depend on political pressure. He challenged universities. He confronted public figures. He refused to stay silent. even when it was unpopular.
We're investigating universities across the country that serves as incubators of Jewish hatred.
Leo Terrell's voice became one of principle, clear, standing with Israel's right to exist, to defend itself, and to live in peace, not because it was easy, but because it was right.
Mr. Terrell's efforts reflect not only his professional expertise, but also his personal dedication to President Trump's most inspiring policy, fearlessly combating anti-Semitism, leading the sons of light against the sons of evil. I am proud to call upon Minister Shikli to the stage to present this year's laureate, Mr. Leo Terrell, Senior Counsel to the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights. The stage is yours.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. Shalom. Before I begin, I want to express my sincere gratitude to the Minister of Diaspora Affairs. I'm also very grateful to the Prime Minister, AKA a very dear friend of mine. I am so deeply honored to accept the Beacon of Truth Award and to accept it here in Israel. This is my first trip to Israel, and I fell in love with Israel. As you know, I serve as the chair of the United States Department of Justice Task Force to combat anti-Semitism. My goal and commitment are simple. Fight anti-Semitism 24/7. Let me get the elephant out of the room. I'm not Jewish. You didn't know that, did you? But I am proud to be a Black Baptist leading the fight against anti-Semitism in the United States. This is not a Jewish issue. This is a human issue. This is a Western civilization issue. This is a civil rights issue, a moral issue, and ultimately a test as to who we are morally in this civilized society. The Jewish community in the United States understands the fight and understands the civil rights movement. The Jewish Americans marched, they organized, they donated, they stood shoulder to shoulder with Black Americans during the 1960s civil rights movement. Some of these Jewish Americans lost their lives fighting for equality and justice. I'm old enough to remember that in 1964, two Jewish activists, Werner and Goodman, were murdered in Mississippi, fighting for the rights of Black Americans and a man named Cheney. Jewish people believe in freedom and democracy and human dignity. And what has happened is that the community has been turned against by those who want to hate. That is why every person who believes in freedom, democracy, and human dignity, every person who believes in truth, must stand behind the Jewish people and behind the state of Israel, not out of charity, but out of sheer destiny. You see, truth today is under siege. Truth is being challenged by lies, repeatedly, loudly. Lies about Israel, lies about the Jewish people. And there's lies that are presented as moral clarity when they are anything but. We are living in a moment where false narratives are treated as more important than facts, where images are no longer evidence, but tools of manipulation. Artificial intelligence is used to generate fake images designed to inflame and outrage. Photographs from unrelated incidents are recycled, relentlessly used to distort the truth. I don't want to mention any corporations that use and support Jew hatred, that support anti-Semitism. It is embarrassing for me to mention those corporate institutions, even in our great country of America, that help promote anti-Semitism. I will not mention their names. CNN, MSNBC, New York Times, Washington Post, Los Angeles Times. You know, I want to be very honest with you. I have sort of mixed feelings about receiving this award, very mixed. I'm supposed to be leading the fight against anti-Semitism, but the truth is that the fight is far from being over. I don't need to tell you, this audience, about what's going on in the United Kingdom or in France or in Australia. But we also have to be clear-eyed about what's going on in the United States. The United States is not free from anti-Semitism. And unfortunately, it still grows, and it's deadly. As chair of the task force to combat anti-Semitism, I hear about anti-Semitism every day. My phone rings all day. Emails, phone calls, parents describing their children being targeted at schools, college students reporting harassment on campuses, being blocked to go to their classes, and spit upon, facing anti-Semitism at the workplace, teachers encouraging anti-Semitic conduct in our college campuses, and teacher unions who are trying to poison our curriculum to K-12 kids, K-12 students. This type of hostility still exists in our country, but it is important that we continue to fight, and that's what this task force is designed to do. I can give you several examples of what has happened in our country besides those. For example, we just had a synagogue in Mississippi burned. The only synagogue in Mississippi, in Jackson, Mississippi, burned. Last month, a man was attacked in Crown Heights, Brooklyn, as the attacker repeatedly shouted anti-Semitic statements and profanities. It's all right to have another Holocaust. In California, we had anti-Semitic activity where a man shot into a house 20 times during the Hanukkah celebration. It is something that continues to exist in our country, in America. In Boulder, Colorado, a Holocaust survivor was set on fire and murdered simply for calling out and calling for the release of hostages. A Holocaust survivor burned alive in America. I went to the museum, the Holocaust Museum, where those two Israeli staffers were murdered. And I was there the next day and I saw the blood being wiped from the sidewalks and I went to the Israeli embassy on behalf of the task force, and I met the parents of Yaron Liskinsky. They were just up here, Ruth and Daniel. And I want to tell you a story. They came to my office. Here's a man who just lost his son. In my office, he said to me, "What can I do to fight anti-Semitism?" In my office. On that night, I was receiving an award from the Emmett Award. And you know what I did that night and what I'm going to do today? He said, "What can I do?" I called him up on the stage. You just saw him again. If you don't mind, since he wants to help fight anti-Semitism, I'd like to call Mr. Liskinsky and his wife back up to the stage. Good to see you. If they can fight anti-Semitism, we can all fight anti-Semitism. And this presence on this stage is an example that this goes well beyond the Jewish American community. This fight of fighting anti-Semitism is something that we have to make sure is eliminated as soon as possible. No child, no parent should be in a position to have to bury their child. And God bless both of you. For sure. It is important that we expand the base of fighting anti-Semitism. My role and my position with the Department of Justice has given me that opportunity. But we need more individuals fighting this awful hatred. This is what happened when lies are repeated long enough, when propaganda is treated as truth, when anti-Semitic mindset is tolerated and allowed. I have been told that speaking up for Israel and the Jewish people is risky, that it will cost a lot, that it will hurt me economically, that it will cost me professional opportunities. I am willing to pay that price. And I hope everyone in this room is willing to pay that price. I will never stop fighting against anti-Semitism. I will never shut up. Fighting anti-Semitism demands complete Thank you. Thank you. Fighting anti-Semitism demands complete moral courage and clarity. Anti-Semitism today is a stress test for civilization itself. It tests whether truth still matters. It tests whether facts still matter. It tests whether moral courage still exists when the pressure is high. I have a message from America to every citizen of the state of Israel. You are not alone. The United States of America stands with you. President Donald Trump, AKA the greatest friend in the White House Israel ever had, I stole that from the Prime Minister, and Attorney General Pam Bondi AKA my boss, has stand with you and have authorized me to use every tool in the toolbox to fight anti-Semitism. This award is partly theirs. I will share this with them, but also a reminder to us how much work remains. And let me say this clearly, fighting anti-Semitism cannot be symbolic. Fighting anti-Semitism must be a full-time commitment, 365 days, 24 hours a day. My commitment to fighting anti-Semitism did not begin with this job. I have been fighting anti-Semitism for 35 years as a civil rights lawyer. And let me make this clearly. Let me state this very clear. For me, fighting anti-Semitism is a lifetime commitment. It goes well beyond my tenure in the government. You have a friend in Leo Terrell, forever. I will fight and work on your behalf, and I will never say no to you. I hold and regard this job as an opportunity to serve not just America, but Western civilization. This fight is about conscience and about truth, about the legacy we leave behind, the fight for our children. The Jew haters are targeting our kids in K-12. Standing against anti-Semitism is not a position I hold without serious consideration. Standing up against anti-Semitism is a responsibility I carry. I will continue to speak the truth, even when it's inconvenient. I will continue to challenge lies about the Jewish people and Israel, no matter how widely they are spread. Defending truth is more than defending the Jewish people. When lies are allowed to replace truth, free societies anywhere cannot survive. Truth needs defenders. Truth needs all of you. I want to thank you for this honor. I want to thank you for your courage and thank you for your standing up to fight for truth. God bless Israel. God bless the United States of America. And Am Israel High.
Thank you, Mr. Leo Terrell, for joining us tonight and for inspiring us all. This year, we are privileged to bestow an additional prestigious tribute in honor of a truly extraordinary individual, a man whose courageous voice dared to speak out simple, clear, and undeniable truth amidst a sea of falsehood, while promoting freedom and liberty. Tonight, we stand united in honoring our cherished friend and inspiring ally, the unwavering warrior of truth, Charlie Kirk. May his soul rest in peace. Let's take a moment to reflect upon his remarkable journey and his enduring legacy he left behind.
Courage is what's missing in our country. We have a courage crisis right now. If people aren't courageous, you don't have honesty. You don't have justice.
He was born with a mission. At just 18, he set out to bring freedom back to America's campuses.
Charlie Kirk is a young man from Turning Point. He's the founder of the organization.
In just a few short years, his journey inspired millions of young people in hundreds of campuses across America.
I vote and you vote, so I'm talking to voters of this country that will determine the future of Western civilization.
His message reignited faith in freedom, responsibility, truth, and values. For Charlie, Israel was more than a nation. It was a beacon of truth.
Do you support Israel?
Yes, of course I do. Yes.
Yeah, that's good for you.
He stood by our side in times when only a few dared to do so.
1,300 Jews were killed in their homes, kibbutzes, and a music festival. Was that a genocide?
No, because, no.
And in the face of rising anti-Semitism, He stood tall and declared, "Truth is not hate. Standing with Israel is standing with freedom."
What you are saying, and you're saying it very clearly, is that we look at the Holocaust and it's just a matter of opinion.
Yeah, that's kind of the problem of being an atheist. You have to bite the bullet.
He thought an entire generation valued intellectual freedom, bold conviction, and brave kindness, even when the world shouted the opposite.
The challenges are immense. I'm going to now overcome all those challenges and go on an adventure. I'm going to prove everyone wrong. I'm now not going to be a victim. I'm going to be a victor. I'm going to dig deep. This is still a great country. This is a free country. I'm going to use my agency. I'm going to use my ability. And I'm not just going to go point in the corner and be like, I'm overweight because of the Jews.
Wow, look at that.
Beautiful. 3, 2, 1, smile.
Charlie Kirk! Charlie Kirk!
Until a single bullet, loaded with hate, shook the world. And one silenced voice echoed a cry that rolled from one end of the earth to the other, calling for justice, for truth, for hope.
He wasn't a violent man. He honored those who disagreed with him. He'd let them go to the front of the line because he knew that debate would stave off violence.
Charlie Kirk is gone, but his voice lives on. A voice of freedom. The voice of Charlie Kirk. May his memory be blessed.
Charlie Kirk's legacy is now a heritage that touches people around the globe, thanks to the leaders who spread it. We are privileged to host Pastor Rob McCoy tonight. Rob McCoy is the co-founder and co-chair of Turning Point USA Faith and the founding senior pastor of Godspeed Calvary Chapel in Thousand Oaks, California. An all-American athlete, former corporate leader, and chaplain to the law enforcement, he brings a rare and unique perspective on faith, culture, and public life. Rob McCoy is a steadfast champion of Israel who visits Israel frequently and works nationwide to inspire the next generation to stand with the Jewish people and confront anti-Semitism. Pastor McCoy was a close mentor and spiritual guide to Charlie Kirk, sharing a deep commitment to conservative values and faith-based activism. I invite Minister Shikli back to the stage to present a special award honoring Charlie Kirk's life and legacy to Pastor Rob McCoy.
I haven't seen a lot of videos of Charlie in a while. And like all of you, I miss him. Charlie called me his pastor, and I called him my friend. To say I was a spiritual mentor to him, I could live 10,000 lifetimes and never repay that man. He was the bravest human being I've ever met. He faced death threats every day and lived every day with joy. He was civil with his enemies, and he contended for truth. I heard a lot about truth this evening. Truth is never afraid of a lie. But a lie can't survive in the presence of truth, and that's why they censor and then put forward their propaganda. And I was thinking, how did we get to a place where anti-Semitism has risen, especially after what happened in October here in Israel? You would think the world would stand with you. But the result is a world that has walked away from the moral law You see, Jews have a target on their back. Charlie believed, as do I, that Jews were God's chosen people. And you're God's chosen people because you were given the moral law, the law that would be for all mankind, the Decalogue. The miracles of the Israelites enslaved in Egypt, as Pharaoh would release them after the plagues and the Passover, the Pesach, parting the Red Sea, drowning the Egyptian army, God providing manna where there was no food, water where there was no water, would blow quail off course to feed them meat. Their clothes wouldn't wear out for 40 years. Their shoes wouldn't wear out for 40 years. Miracle after miracle after miracle. But it wasn't until Moses went up on Mount Sinai and God gave them this downloaded moral app, the Decalogue. One God, no idols. Don't take the name of the Lord your God in vain. Honor the Sabbath day. Honor your mother and father. Don't murder. Don't commit adultery. Don't steal. Don't bear false witness. And don't covet. And from that moral law, the greatest miracle of all would prevail. 3 to 5 million Jews would live together for 40 years without a police force or a standing army. Because as our second president of the United States said, John Adams, only a moral and religious people can govern a republic. When the moral law is applied to civil law, it becomes the wise restraints that make men free. But when you remove the moral law, the civil law becomes a weapon to enslave mankind. And you see, in the enslavement of mankind, where in the 6,000 years of recorded history, most governments have been oligarchies where the few rule the many. And in America, we suffered with DEI and critical race theory and watched as communism and secularism eroded the moral foundation of Western civilization, which is the Decalogue. In the decay of this moral foundation, these young people, especially heterosexual males, were put at the bottom of the totem pole of diversity, equity, and inclusion. And the pendulum swung, and they became bitter. And so they looked for another target other than themselves, and they picked the 15 to 16 million Jews worldwide and decided to blame them for all the world's ills. While secular progressivism destroyed the moral foundation of much of Western society, Islam, and it's my opinion, and you may disagree with me, I see Islam not as a religion, but as a political structure disguised as a religion. Sharia law seeks to implement totalitarianism upon a free society, demanding your adherence or you die, or you become less of a citizen. And so we're seeing this happen, what we call the Red-Green Revolution, and Charlie understood this. In the last pastors' conference at Terranea in Southern California, he pivoted. Because he believed in dialogue and he allowed Tucker Carlson to come, they called him anti-Semitic. Because he would declare Israel as a sovereign nation and that Jews are God's chosen people, they would call him a Zionist. He'd be beat up on both sides of the bridge. So at Terranea, he pivoted. He decided to go after the real enemy, Islam. And you say radical Islam. Of the 15 nations that have over 90% population, what happened to the indigenous people? In the 1040 window, longitude and latitude, where 90% of the Muslim world exists, the Druids, Arab Christians, they've been persecuted, massacred. In this one democracy, in this 1040 window, no larger than New Jersey, becomes the target of the world when Europe is falling to despotism. Charlie understood that what we hold in Western civilization is this Decalogue, this moral law. As God would say, righteousness exalts a nation, but sin is a reproach to any people. I encourage this nation I've come to adore, Israel. Return to this moral law. Seek God. He is your strength. Yes, your military is profound and powerful, and your leadership is determined. But unless God builds the temple, you labor in vain. America needs the same exhortation. This is a spiritual battle. I'm a minister. If you take position against me, well, that's okay. But you invited me as Charlie's pastor, and I want to honor him in that respect. I know he'd be moved by this. And I want to conclude by simply saying I did not always have a love for Israel. I was ignorant like much of America. I wasn't a good student in school, and it wasn't until my college education that I became a Christian, became a history major. Interestingly enough, and I want to say this, I know the Prime Minister has left, but I had the privilege in November to sit with him. And he commended Minister Shickley on his English, and I too find it amazing. But I have to commend the Prime Minister, I have to commend the Prime Minister on his grasp of American history and church history. That man is spectacular in his scholarship. He understands the world and the challenges that his people face. And I have come to love Israel as I studied American history and realized our founders studied and tried to figure out a form of government. And the number one book that they quoted of the founders was the Bible. And the number one book of the Bible they quoted was Deuteronomy. They found a constitutional republic with the Israelites in the wilderness when Jethro said to Moses, appoint godly men who are not covetous, who love the law over thousands, hundreds, fifties, and tens. That's where we get federal, state, county, local government, a representative form of government. But what was the Constitution, a constitutional republic? The Constitution for the Israelites was the Decalogue. You see, kings and priests have ruled society and caused the masses to be their saddles that they ride as elites. But it wasn't until this moral law was given to the Jews for all mankind that the kings would be subject to this moral law. And as you carry this moral law, you're a target for all the world because they want to throw off the constraints of God, as Pharaoh would say to Moses, who is God that I should obey him? And now, as I see my nation founded on the model that they witnessed in the wilderness of the children of Israel, that they would come up with the three branches of government based on Isaiah 33:22, that the Lord is our king, our lawgiver, and our judge, executive, legislative, judicial powers. 4 times in our birth certificate, they mention God. You see, blessed is a nation whose God is the Lord. And I say this to you because as I came to understand this, and then in 2006, I visited Israel for the first time, and now it's been over 30 times, I have come to love the nation that loves truth. That you understand the Dead Sea Scrolls are in the center of your nation, which is the oldest title deed in the history of the world, found in 1947. Interestingly enough, that Israel become a nation in 48. The only nation on the face of the earth whose language was dead and then became a national language. This is a nation of miracles. And to stand with you, with that bullseye you have on your back, reviled and hated throughout all of history, to stand with you means I received the same thing. And I consider it an honor. For my detractors, I have been invited by the nation of Israel to come here to receive this award. They offered to pay my plane ticket and give me a hotel. I refused. I paid my own way because I'm here because I'm honoring you. I'm here as a sacrifice to tell you thank you for standing. And a sacrifice isn't a sacrifice unless it costs you something. And I'm here to tell you, I stand with you. Now, in doing so, I now have watched my entire family facing death threats. I've been reviled. And you know what? In the absence of courage, truth is an orphan. And it wasn't Hitler and his victims. It was Hitler and a complicit nation that decided to lie to each other because they were too afraid of the consequences of telling the truth. I will not be afraid of the consequences of truth. Israel is a sovereign nation whose borders were invaded. Over 1,200 of their people were brutally murdered. And they pressed a war upon an enemy that started that war. I stand with them. I stand with your sovereignty. And yes, I believe that the Jews are God's chosen people. And as a minister, I'm grateful for you protecting our holy sites. I thank you for the freedom of religion here in Israel and the freedom of speech, and that you are a democracy in this 1040 window where 90% of the tyrannical world lives. And I commend you. And on behalf of Charlie Kirk, I thank you for this award. May God bless Israel. Amen.
Thank you, Pastor McCoy. Your words touched us all. And now I invite you to watch a greeting from Senator Ted Cruz, USA Senator for the state of Texas.
Good evening, and welcome to the International Conference on Combating Anti-Semitism. Today, we solemnly remember the Holocaust 81 years ago and remind ourselves of our promise to never forget and to never allow atrocities like the Holocaust to happen again. Just 2 years ago, we witnessed the most horrific attacks on Israel and the Jewish people since the Holocaust. And today, we are battling an unprecedented rise in anti-Semitism. I know that all of you, like me, are horrified by the rise of anti-Semitism. On college campuses, in the media, on our streets, and now from prominent voices on both the right and the left. There is a spirit of anger and division in the world today. A decade ago, we saw anti-Semitism begin to rise on the left in America. And now, it's consumed the Democrat Party. But what saddens me now is the rise of anti-Semitism on the right. There is a tangible, dangerous anti-Semitic contingent on the right that is gaining traction, gaining popularity, being listened to by young people, and gaining attention. In the last year, I've seen more anti-Semitism rising on the right than I ever have in my entire life. It's dangerous, and it's growing. Anti-Semitism is a poison that not only damages Israel, but also damages America. If we're going to stop it, we will stop it by standing up and saying, no, this is not who we are. This is not what we believe. So tonight, I want to say thank you. Thank you all for your conviction. Thank you for your hard work. Thank you for standing with the people of Israel. And thank you for standing up for America. May God bless you, and may God continue to bless the United States of America.
Thank you, Senator Ted Cruz. Before we move on to the next item, I would like to remind all of you that we will gather here tomorrow for the 2026 International Conference on Combating Anti-Semitism, held in conjunction with International Holocaust Remembrance Day. Tomorrow, we will discuss the most urgent issues on global battle against anti-Semitism and Holocaust denial. We invite you to join a distinguished group of international and domestic policymakers, parliamentarians, academics, and media representatives for engaging sessions. And now, Idan Reichel. Idan weaves into his sound a stunning human mosaic of Israeli society, its richness, its diversity, and its eternal prayer for hope and peace. We are especially delighted to host him on our stage tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, Idan Reichel and his band.
יש בי עוד כוח עכשיו, כשהלכת חייך לי ירח, נתן את אורו בחלום, והלילה כבר לא מפחדת לבד, להיות ולחלום. הנה שוב זה אתה שנוגע, אתה שבורח, תדע, אין לי רגע אפילו דקה לחכות, והשמש היום מאירה לי לצאת אל הים הגדול. יש בי עוד כוח עכשיו, רק תניח, הכל כבר נחתם ונסגר, והלב מתרפא והגשם נפסק, אז חוזר שוב הריח, האביב שוב מגיע, ושוב זה אתה שנוגע, אתה שבורח, תדע, אין לי רגע אפילו דקה לחכות, והשמש היום מאירה לי לצאת אל הים הגדול. זה אתה שנוגע, אתה שבורח, תדע, אין לי רגע אפילו דקה לחכות, והשמש היום מאירה לי לצאת אל הים הגדול. מי זה קורא לך הלילה, הקשיבי, מי שר בקול אלייך אל חלונך, מי שם נפשו שתהי מאושרת, מי ישים יד ויבנה את ביתך, מי ייתן חייו ישימה מתחתייך, מי כעפר לרגלייך יחיה, מי יאהבך עוד מכל אוהבייך, מי מכל רוח רעה יצילך, ממעמקים קראתי אלייך, בואי אליי, בשובך יחזור שוב האור בעינייך. לא גמול לא עוזב המגע בידייך, שיבוא ויעיר למשמע כל צחוק. ממעמקים קראתי אלייך, בואי אליי, מול ירח מאיר את דרכך שוב אליי. נפרסו ונמסו מול מגע של ידייך, באוזנייך לוחשת. מי זה קורא לך הלילה, הקשיבי, מי שר בקול אלייך אל חלונך. מי שם נפשו שתהי מאושרת, מי ישים יד ויבנה את ביתך. מי ייתן חייו ישימה מתחתייך, מי כעפר לרגלייך יחיה. מי יאהבך עוד מכל אוהבייך, מי מכל רוח יצילך ממאבקים. קראתי אלייך, בואי אליי, מול ירח בעיר דרכך שוב אליי. נפרסו ונמסו מול מגע של ידייך, באוזנייך לוחשת. מי זה קורא לך הלילה, הקשיבי, מי שר בקול אלייך אל חלונך. מי שם נפשו שתהי מאושרת, מי ישים יד ויבנה ביתך. חייו ישימה מתחתייך, מי כעפר לרגלייך יחיה. מי יאהבך עוד מכל אוהבייך, מי מכל רוח יצילך ממעמקים. שר בקול אלייך אל חלונך. מי שם נפשו שתהי מאושרת, מי ישים יד ויבנה את ביתך. מי ייתן חייו ישימה מתחתייך, מי כעפר לרגלייך יחיה. מי יאהבך עוד מכל אוהבייך, מי מכל רוח רע יצילך. מי זה קורא שתהי מאושרת, ומי ישים יד ויבנה ביתך. ומי ייתן חייו ישימה מתחתייך, מי כעפר לרגלייך יחיה. מי יאהבך עוד מכל אוהבייך, מי מכל רוח רעה יצילך ממעמקים. Thank you. בכבוד, ארבון גלסה מוואסה. Thank you. Thank you. We are very happy to play here tonight for you. תודה רבה לכם. כל מה שהיה פה ישתנה ממחר. הזמן עוד יתקן את כל מה שכבר נשבר ונשאר. יש מי ששומר את הטוב לידינו, הוא תמיד מחכה. כל מה שהיה פה ישתנה ממחר, אם ננסה רק להאמין בלי לדעת, להרגיש בלי לגעת, לדבר עם העיניים, גם כשאין לי יותר מה לומר, לשחרר את הרגע, זה טבעי לפחד מהטבע, לחבק חזק בידיים, כל רגע לפני שנגמר. כל מה שהיה פה ישתנה ממחר. הזמן עוד יתקן את כל מה שכבר נשבר ונגמר. כל התפילות הניסים בחיינו מתחברים לרגע הזה. כל מה שהיה פה ישתנה ממחר אם ננסה רק להאמין בלי לדעת, להרגיש בלי לגעת, לדבר עם העיניים, גם כשאין לי יותר מה לומר, לשחרר את הרגע, זה טבעי לפחד מהטבע, לחבק חזק בידיים, כל רגע לפני שנגמר. לפחד מהטבע, לחבק חזק בידיים, כל רגע לפני שנגמר. כל מה שהיה פה ישתנה ממחר. Thank you, תודה רבה, thank you.
Israel's national anthem was composed years before its founding, yet it celebrates timeless vision of to be free in our land. I invite Corporal Tami Uritsky, member of the IDF Central Command Band, to the stage to sing the Israeli anthem, Hatikva. The audience is kindly asked to stand.
קולות בלבה בנימה, נפש יהודי הומייה, ופאתי מזרח קדימה.
Corporal Tami Uritsky. Let us express our deep gratitude to the Prime Minister of the State of Israel, Mr. Benjamin Netanyahu, Minister Amichai Shikli, Israel's Minister for Diaspora Affairs and Combating Anti-Semitism, and his team for this wonderful evening. Special thanks to Director General Avi Cohen-Scali and his team. I would like to thank Galit Wahaba-Shasho, Head of National Events, the Ceremony Directorate of the State of Israel at the Prime Minister Office, and her team. And I want to extend my heartfelt thanks to you, our distinguished guests that came from the four corners of the world. Thank you so much for being here. Your presence is an honor to us. Thank you so much. Thank you for your solidarity with the State of Israel. See you all tomorrow.